war,
education,
finance,
science.
religion. There are many issues, questions, and problems that the world's smartest scholars ponder every single day. But where do you go if you have first world problems?
Welcome to First World Answers. I'm Mike Goodpass. This is Keith Evans. And we got answers to all your first world problems. Today's question is...
What is it?
What is the coolest gimmick match of all time? Now, if you're not a wrestling fan, which I don't understand why you even breathe, but a gimmick match is basically a match that's not a normal one fall match. It's like a, well, it could be one fall, but it's not a normal match. It's like a cage match, a no disqualification match,
Submission,
a lumberjack match, a ladder match,
some dumb thing on a pole,
Iron Man,
even like Hell in a Cell.
Oh, that's
War Games,
Royal Rumble, King of the Ring. Well, not King of the Ring. That's just a tournament.
Yeah.
But Royal Rumble,
yeah.
A Battle Royal itself.
Yeah.
A street fight.
First Blood.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pretty much that covers it up. If it's a specialty match, if you will.
Right. What's the greatest one? The one that has produced the most hits would probably be a ladder match.
That's my favorite, but is it the best? I mean, I've had most enjoyment watching ladder matches, I think. But Royal Rumble,
Royal Rumble,
is it fair to call Royal Rumble in as a gimmick match because it's kind of a specialty? It's like especially
it's less of a match. Like, I mean, because I don't think you would consider it a Royal, like,
your wins and losses don't happen. If you get thrown out of a Royal Rumble, your record doesn't affect it.
So it's not really a match.
I think that would be why we. Yeah.
It's more of an opportunity.
Money in the Bank, then. Speaking of opportunity, Money in the Bank takes the ladder match and the Royal Rumble concept.
Yeah.
It kind of puts it together.
Yeah.
But
Hell in a Cell is an awesome idea. But it doesn't always.
Depends who's in it. You can throw a Money in the Bank match out there, and if you have as long as like one or two good people, you're gonna have a pretty good match.
As far as excitement goes, and as far as like being in the era that the gimmick match was popular, how it spanned, and like people getting hyped up for it, War Games was a pretty good gimmick match where it was like people were always.
Well, explain the rules of War Games for people who don't know it.
War Games is basically you have two rings within a cage, a Hell in a Cell size cage, and you have two teams. It's almost Survivor Series type of way, but in reverse in a steel cage match. Yeah, Survivor Series. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you have your two teams. It's usually teams of 4 or 5, I believe. Like it's only been 4 or 5. And then
mostly 4, I think.
Yeah, and then you do
the horsemen usually.
Each one guy from one team, another guy from another team started off. Then there's a coin flip at some point to decide who gets the first advantage. Then after a certain amount of time, I think it's like 5 minutes.
I think it was 5 or.
And then that team, and then the other team from other team, and all until they're all in the ring, and then whoever. Usually, well, it's not a pin. It's they have to quit, right? It's like I quit match at that point. Like, isn't it? Like somebody has to give up for the team, or has it changed? I think it changed a lot because the one I remember
what was the last War Games?
The last War Games was the Horsemen versus NWO one.
Where fake Sting turned?
No, that's the one Mr. Perfect turned. Yeah, when Mr. Perfect turned. And I think that was the last one. I think actually I've read somewhere where because of the massiveness of that one and like the whole spot with Ric Flair or whatever, they stopped doing War Games like after that. Also, War Games was a pretty horseman dominated like gimmick match,
which gives it cool points automatically.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it was always monumental. But okay, talking about Survivor Series. Which was good for a while, and then it kind of like became this.
It's like War Games without a cage.
Yeah, really. And it was really good when it was like there was a captain, and then there was like
Mid
the mid
cards,
card guy
maybe a
in a
tag
tag
team.
team, and somehow like it was cool to see like all those kind of had something to
Hulk
do with
Hogan
each
and
other.
Tugboat teaming up.
Yeah, well, it was like how the way they put the teams together and they all kind of had something in common. Blah blah blah. When they started doing it later, it was more so just throwing people
Just
on
a
a fucking
nostalgia
team.
act.
Um, so I mean, maybe that takes some of the notoriety of that match from it.
Is it cheating to say 3 stages of hell?
No,
Because
I like Three Stages of Hell.
sometimes this is basically all that is just 3 different matches, 3 different specialty matches in a row.
See, that's the thing about most gimmick matches. I
But it
feel like
changes too much. Like
most gimmick matches almost clearly depend on who's in that gimmick match.
true.
A ladder match, though, for some reason, you just get excited about a ladder match
Yeah,
regardless. So, I mean, ladder match is probably the answer.
ladder match.
Yeah, ladder match.